Chapter 3, Kichijoji. Maya stepped off the train and tried to get out of the way and catch her bearings without being overrun by the throng of bodies pouring out of the busy train car. Central Gate proclaimed a sign above a set of descending stairs near the end of the platform, and as the train pulled out of the station on its way back to Shibuya, Maya carefully made her down the steep concrete steps out to the city streets below. Just outside the main gate was an elevated train platform that made the ground shake as it rumbled past, almost muting the sounds of the busy train station's main gate. All around the exit were little shops and stands selling sizzling yakitori, the steam floating up into the air. There were newsstands with small groups of people flipping through manga and newspapers as waves of people streamed in all directions in a symphony of movement, almost a controlled chaos, and Maya stood in the midst of all, breathing it in. She pulled out her iPhone and opened up the Maps application and typed in Studio Ghibli Museum, which was the place she'd been dreaming of visiting once she really knew she was really heading to Japan. She always loved the animation of Hideo Miyazaki ever since she'd first seen Howl's Moving Castle, and when she'd first read about the museum featuring his original studio where he and his small team of animators had created some of her favorite movies, Porco Rosso, Nausicaa and The Valley of the Wind, My Neighbor Totoro and so many more, all meticulously hand-drawn frame by frame. And now she was standing less than a kilometer away. She looked down at her phone and saw she needed to get across the street and head east towards Kichijoji Park, so she stood at the curb, the traffic zooming past, and waited for the crosswalk light to turn green. The sky was a shade of pale blue with wisps of clouds floating in strips and streaks, and the breeze on her back was a welcoming warmth as the crosswalk began its playful song signaling it was time to cross the intersection. Once she got a few blocks away from the station, the crowds thinned out and the cacophony of sound faded off into the distance. The only sound now, it seemed to her, was the click-clack of her shoes on the pavement and the occasional whoosh of a car slowly passing. She glanced down at the screen of her phone, following the little blue line to her destination, which according to her map said was only a few more minutes away. Her heart beat in her chest like a drum, and she felt the excitement and anticipation rising as she turned the corner and saw a giant metal robot standing tall amongst the quiet neighborhood, one of the Laputan robots from the film Castle in the Sky. She picked up the pace of her steps, not quite running, and as the museum got closer she could see the entrance was only a few moments away. She purchased the admission tickets online, and at the front entrance she gave the barcode printout to the young man at the gate and headed inside, her heart thumping with excitement. The center of the main entrance hall was dominated by a large what appeared to be a table covered in a glass dome, and within was the world of Studio Ghibli. Characters from all the famous, and not so famous, films were arranged in concentric circles seemingly frozen in time. Each clay figurine was so incredibly detailed, she wondered how long it must have taken to paint each by hand. "It's called a rotoscope," a cheerful young woman's voice said, and Maya turned around and met the gaze of a Japanese girl who seemed about the same age as she was. "Excuse me?" Maya asked, raising her eyebrows and looking at her inquisitively. "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Kimiko, but everyone calls me Kimmy." "Anne." I said, "It's called a rotoscope. Here, watch," and Kimmy brushed past her and pressed a large red button on the side of the machine that Maya hadn't even noticed until Kimmy pushed it in with a clack. The tiny world under the glass dome suddenly sprang to life like magic. A fluorescent blue light filled the scene, and as the merry-go-round music kicked and the claymation characters jumped to life, a miniature Totoro was now skipping rope surrounded by dancing elvish creatures she didn't recognize. Kiki flew by on her flying broomstick ready to deliver, and there was Calcifer, his flames almost alive in a cobblestone fireplace. Maya stood in wide wonder and turned to Kimmy. "Oh my God, it's incredible," she beamed. "How did they make this?" Kimmy took a step back, looking at Maya right in the eyes. "It is kind of magical, isn't it?" she said matter-of-factly. This was obviously old hat to her. "I think they make each one a little differently, one at a time like animation, and the blue light I think helps the Nandaro," and she scratched her head as if remembering the words in English required a physical action, visual effects. She finished triumphantly. "So, where are you from?" "Are you a student?" she asked, changing subjects as quickly as she'd said hello. "Oh, I'm from America, the United States," and I'm doing a homestay with an older Japanese family. I'm starting classes at Waseda in about a month. Are you a student? Kimmy looked at her and smiled. An American, huh? Going to Waseda? Wait till you meet all the crazy people at that school. Bunch of dumb baseball players that all the girls worship. She said the last part with a deep hint of disdain. Hey, wanna see Miyazaki-san's drawing studio? It's the real thing. I think he drew Porco Rosso there. Come on. And before Maya could argue, she was dragged away by this wild Japanese girl, the music of the glowing world disappearing behind her in the distance. They explored the museum together, from the drawing studio that looked as if it had been teleported from the 1970s to the ball pit of Makarakura, where they played like children again, throwing the fuzzy black plush toys at each other. They decided to get coffee at a nearby care called Cafe Aquarius, a few blocks away. Maya had met her first friend in Japan, and she smiled to herself as they walked together down the Kochi Kaido to the coffee shop on the corner.